Are we live everywhere? Beautiful. Okay, we are live all the places. A couple of PSAs for today. So one, Monday. Woo! Hold on, Instagram. Hold on. There we go. Okay, I got you. Monday is sales strategy, sales technique. Hey, Mary. Good morning. So we are talking today about closing. Specifically about closing from a place of must. Heather is in the house. Nola, good morning. Oh my gosh, so good to see you. As always, if you're joining on Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube, pop me a comment. Let me know you're here. I got to do a couple PSAs too. Happy Monday. Oh, Sarah, good morning. Couple PSAs. One, there may be background noise because Jack is about to go out for his walk. Two, I just glued on my eyelashes and I feel like this one may fly off. So if it flies off in the middle of the live stream, no one say anything. Okay, that's my request. And third, yes, I didn't have time to do my hair after working out this morning. So yes, I'm in a formal wear dress and I have my hair from working out. So that's just how we're rolling this morning. So we keep it real over here at She Sells. So with that, here's what I want to know as we come in and we talk today about closing from a place of must. And as per usual, we're going to get a different, thank you for the hearts, we're going to get a different spin on closing that I think is often taught. But here's what I want to know is what are your questions about closing? So this was one of the biggest questions, biggest areas that seem to be challenging for some of the women that I served back in July with our sales challenge. Oh, Priya, good afternoon. I'm so glad to see you. Hello. And Mustafa, good afternoon to you, my friend. Actually, Priya, I think good evening. I gotta keep all my time zones straight for everybody who's joining. But closing seemed to be a challenge for people. And so I want to talk about that today. And I want to start off by talking about why closing feels hard. Closing feels hard if you're out of alignment. Okay, closing feels hard if you're out of alignment. Kalua, good morning. I love having both you and Nola on here today. This is wonderful. Closing, and for me, it felt that way for many, many years. If closing feels like a push, if closing sales feels challenging, if you're in any sort of fear or anxiety around not being able to quote unquote close sales, that means you are out of alignment. So let's talk about what it means to be in alignment versus out of alignment. And as always, please pop your comments. Again, just no one comment if my eyelash flies off, but every other comment is welcomed. So pop your comments about closing, pop your questions about closing, like what is it that you want to learn about this? But I was thinking this morning about why closing felt hard for people. And this is what popped in for me. And this is what I used to struggle with so much was I was out of alignment. And so I was in massive stress about trying to close sales. Wendy, good morning. So in alignment versus out of alignment, my definition of alignment, and this is really what I strive, this is what I strive to help my clients find in their own lives. This is what I strive to help you as a member of this community here on the live streams find. When you're in alignment, it means you know where your real power comes from. It means you're in that state and you've let me know in the comments, do you feel like you're there like all the time right now? Do you feel like you pop in and out? Do you feel like you're not really there yet, but you're curious about what it is and you want to you want to experience that? But when you're in alignment, it's kind of that deep knowing, that inner knowing that there's an infinite supply of clients, money, opportunities for you. And your only job is to do the inner work to show up as that version of yourself who already is wealthy, abundant, prosperous, joyful, whole, complete, which comes from your mindset practice, from your meditation practice, like whatever that is that you do to get in alignment. So you feel grounded so that when you get on your sales calls, you're not like making that person God, right? Like, oh, if they don't buy, I don't know how I'm going to hit my target for this month or whatever. Like that's how you know instantly that you are out of alignment and out of your power when you're in your sales calls. So let me just check. Kalua is saying you pop in and out. Leah, good morning. So good to see you. Tony, good morning. Let me check comments on everywhere else. Okay, so let me know, again, if you're on Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube, let me know how you're feeling in terms of being in alignment versus out of alignment throughout the day. But when you're out of alignment, which again means that you're looking outside of yourself for fulfillment, for power, for all of it, then closing is going to feel hard, because then closing feels like you've got to push, closing feels like you've got to force, closing feels like you've got to shove and convince, right? Convince people to work with, which actually makes you feel less than, right? We've all been there. I've been there, but it makes you feel like if this person doesn't buy from me, then I'm not good enough, right? Like this is let me know in the comments if you've experienced this. Let me know in the comments if this is your experience right now. There's no judgment. It's how I sold for so many years, but there's a much more powerful way, which is what I want to talk with you about this morning. Oh, Wendy, you love the dress. Thank you so much. I love it too. It's one of my new ones from the summer that I'm really feeling. Thank you. Leah, good morning. Sherry, good morning. So good to see everyone here. So there's a little client story I'll tell you, and we'll tie it in with the message this morning. So I was inspired to share this client story because I listen to Abraham Hicks like every morning, pretty much every morning while I get ready. And this morning I was listening to a clip that was about never pursue anything. Never pursue anything. And this is, if you're taking notes this morning, this would be a great thing to write down, because isn't this the polar opposite of what we're normally taught, especially in sales, right? It's like, you gotta convince them, you gotta hunt it down, you gotta kill your, I don't know. I'm trying to think of like all the terrible analogies that were used when I was like back in the day in corporate sales. And it's very much like a hunt mentality. I remember I was pegged for a role as like the whale hunter for this company that I was considering being a part of. And at the time I wasn't aware enough to realize kind of just how off that language was. But I bet many of you have, you've heard that term, or you've had that energy in your sales experience. But what I loved about this, this video clip from Abraham Hicks about never pursue anything is that it's not that we're not following up with clients. Okay. So when I say this, it's not that we're not following up. It's not that we're not taking action. Like many of you who are on here right now are my clients. And for many of you, it's because I felt divinely inspired to reach out and invite you to work with me or to do something. So it's not that we're not taking action, but it's a difference in the action. And let me know if this makes sense for you, because when you're in alignment and you're doing your sales follow-up, or you're doing your closing, or you're doing your outreach, it's this very like chill, laid back energy of let's just see, right? It's not like I have to like push this to close by X date, or I've got to force this person to buy or whatever. It's like, I'm feeling so good. I'm so excited about what I'm doing. Your name came to me in this beautiful, like high energetic state. And I want to reach out to you and invite you to hop on a call, to work with me, whatever. Right. But the byproduct of that is when we're in that energy and when we're taking aligned action, which means you're in your power, versus misaligned or unaligned action, then you actually do sell more because people can sense that energy, right? It's like, I remember from back in oh my gosh, my dog just rolled right out of her bed. That's hilarious. I remember back from when I was like dating days, right? It's like the person this is a weird analogy, but it's like the person who is less in pursuit, the person who's more chill, like you can come to me. They're the one who typically quote unquote wins. And again, I don't like using that language here, but I think you kind of get what I mean. And that's the energy I would invite you to have with your sales conversations. Michelle's saying, oh yeah. Oh, by the way, good morning, Michelle. The sales analogy of you eat what you kill. Yeah. Which is just, I would love to just be done with all of that in our world. Oh, Gail, good morning. So good to see you. So good to see you. So the client story that came to mind as I was watching this video is a client of mine. We'll just call her E. But when we had started working together, a lot of why she wanted to work with me was she wanted to get back in touch with her intuition. And she'd had some challenging life circumstances that had kind of bopped her out of touch with that. And she was finding herself, she's in sales for a bigger company, and she was finding that their sales process felt misaligned for her. And she, a lot of the process was very like hunt it down, like tactical, you gotta, like she felt like she was giving her power away in this, but she felt like it was the only way that she could sell. And she wasn't doing great financially either. She was having low income months, like anywhere from like 2000. And again, it's all relative. For her, it was low, $2,000 a month. To I think her biggest month had been $8,000 a month. And she was so in her head about everything she was doing because she felt like she wasn't doing it right. And she was like, again, she was giving her power away to the processes that she felt like she had to follow, to the people, et cetera. And she shared this story on a group call several months ago that she had had a client reach out to her, a potential client reach out to her several weeks before to book a meeting with her. And they booked the meeting like 2 weeks out, and just because they were both busy. So it was a discovery call. And so they booked the meeting. My client kind of goes on and on with her life. And she forgot that they had the meeting scheduled. This is like for a Friday. And it was about like a couple minutes before the meeting time. She just happened to look at her calendar and realize that this meeting was booked. And she was like, oh, shoot, like I got to get on it right now. Didn't have time to get in her head. Didn't have time to go into like, how am I going to close this deal, right? Get in pursuit. She had to literally just sit there and be present with that client. She didn't have any other choice. Well, what do you know? In 30 minutes, because she was just in her power, because she was leaning back, because she hadn't had time to get too caught up with an outcome, she closed a $16,000 sale like that. I think it was the biggest sale she had closed to date. And it was easy and it was fast because she was in her power, because she was in alignment, because she didn't have time to get out of alignment. Is this making sense? Like, let me know in the comments if you've had that experience too, where maybe normally sales or closing has felt challenging for you and has felt hard. Michelle's saying, love that. Yeah. But you had an experience where you didn't have time to get caught up in your head about it, and you were more in flow and you were just present, and you actually closed the deal way easier and way faster, because that's how it works. Thank you for the hearts, Wendy. And so I want to invite you to be, as we go into this week and you're setting your goals for this week as well, to be remembering about this, this energy of never pursuing anything. And when Abraham Hicks was talking about that this morning, the kind of the undertones of it was show up, like focus on being in alignment first. So this is why we talk so much about the inner work. How does the version of you who already has that sale, how does she or he show up today? How do you feel? How do you think? How calm, relaxed, and at ease are you? How chill? How much are you leaning back on your sales calls, allowing that person to tell you why they should work with you and why they want to work with you? And so when it comes to your closing process, okay, you want to think about closing from this place of a must for your client. So that's kind of the inner work, and then we're going to tie it back into the more tactical here. Closing from the place of a must for your client. And who here has been turned off by what's so commonly taught about sales, which is like, ask, like, as soon as you talk to someone, are you ready to buy? 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 And they'll always be closing, right? And it's not that we're not always quote unquote closing. That's more energetically, though. It's like you're inviting people to work with you because of who you are, right? Because of how like you're radiating this brilliant, vibrant energy, and you've maybe got an affirmation that you give off the impression of increase, which we talked about last week, right? Which is everywhere you go, you help other people see what's possible for them. You convey this energy, this energy and this unspoken message of, I'm growing, I'm expanding, and I want to invite you to do that with me. So from that perspective, yes, you're always quote unquote closing, but so much of what's taught is like, everyone has to be your client. You've got to close everyone. If you don't close someone, then you're not good at it. And that is very low level, low vibrational, misaligned coaching. Like, I'm just going to call it for what it is. I want to invite you to be way more in your power and way more selective about who you're willing to take on as a client and who you're not willing to take on as a client, because you're only willing to accept clients who are at the level that you're playing at, or who are like wanting to be there and are willing to do what it takes to get there. Okay. Kalu is saying you can relate to like that kind of gross, icky way of training on coaching. Michelle is okay. So Michelle automatically, and Michelle, I forgot what I was saying there with that comment. So I apologize. I'm not sure what the comment was to, but when we close from a place of must, you know, the whole flow of sales calls that for me has helped them feel very easy and very fun and very like I actually enjoy them now is this energy of let's both sit back and discover and see if this feels like a great fit. So it's not one of pushing, it's not one of convincing, it's not one of um, forcing or like trying to prove yourself, right? Because then again, you're misaligned, you're out of your power. But it's one of you knowing your worth and then creating a space where you're going to just explore and discover, and it's as much an exploration for this client for excuse me it's as much an exploration for you of whether you want to take on this client as it is for the client of whether they want to partner with you. But so the goal of the call is to help that client find out if working together is a must. Is it a must for you, and is it a must for them? Because we find money for things that are a must for us in life. So if you're getting, so this is another thing that I would write down if you're taking notes. If you're getting a lot of price objections from people, it's not a must for them. And that could mean one of two things. Either they're not your client and that's okay. And you got to know as soon as you know that they're not your client, let them know that and help them move on. Okay. Refer them to someone else, let them know you don't think it's a good mutual fit, whatever. But the other alternative is if this really is like a dream client who you would love to help and it's not a must for them, usually that means that our energy is off. Like again, we're putting too much on whether they work with us or not, or we're not willing to go there with them to help them really uncover the true issues that are holding them back from achieving what they want in life, business, whatever your area of service is. Because again, usually that comes from you're out of your power because you're focusing too much on being liked by them rather than actually truly helping them and serving them. And so the only time that I'll invite someone to work with me is when they've clearly said that it's a must. And that's actually part of my closing process is once I feel like it's a must. And once we get to the point where it's like, yeah, it's clear that we need to do this, I'll ask, so based on this, is working together a must for you? Like based on what we've talked about, and here's where I see that you can go, and here's what I think it would look like, is working together a must for you? And I'll actually have them say why. Like if they say yes, it's like, okay, great. So tell me why. Because you got to remember when you're like, the more you're talking, the less they're buying. Usually you want to get them talking as much as possible because they need to decide for themselves. And if we're doing all the talking, then it's like we're convincing, right? We're pushing, and you're not giving them the space to really say what's showing up for them. So I want to ask the client, why is it so based upon this conversation, why is it a must for us to work together? And let them say it. And then it's like, great. So here are the options for us to work together. We can do this or that. And you let them know if you've got a paid in full or a payment plan or whatever the options are for your program. And then which one would you like to do? Which one feels best? Which one do you think is best? And you go from there. And now well, let me pause and read comments. I'm going to talk to you about money for a moment. And if you're getting, again, like helping them find the money to work with you. Sierra is saying this is so good. Switching the mindset to only working with clients that I actually want to work with was definitely a change that needed to happen. Beautiful. And Sierra, it may or may not have started like manifesting for you yet, but if it hasn't yet, you will bring on way more clients because you're not trying to like grab for everybody. And you probably already are noticing that you're bringing on more clients. Go away. Don't you love it when potential spam calls in a live stream? Yeah, but you will bring on more clients because they see that energy in you where it's like It's very attractive energy, right? It's the lean back, it's the you know your worth. That's the impression of increase that you're giving off. Rita, good afternoon. And is it Dr. Sid? Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're coming in from. Welcome. Um, oh, Michelle, yeah, you're saying you're automatically turned off by hard closing. Yeah, same. And now, once it's a must for the client, sometimes we have to help them find money to work with us. And so I always keep a handy little list of like 20 ways to find money. 20 ways that people can find money to work with me. It's something I provide my clients as well. And it's a helpful list. So sometimes we need to do that, but people always find money for what they need. Even this past week, as I'm renewing with the coach I signed up with last year, and it's double the investment because she's only doing longer containers now. And the initial payment installment was like, I wasn't anticipating, I didn't have that in the budget. But she told me, and it's like, okay, I know it's a must for me to do this. So what do I need to do now in order to bring in that amount of money to make it happen? And so sometimes we've got to work with clients to help them find out how. And I always do that with clients. It's like, do we need to work together to figure out where this investment is going to come from? Or are you very clear and you're good to go? And it's kind of like you're a doctor. It's kind of like you're a doctor. Like once they have said, yes, it's a must for me, then if they need help with figuring out the finances, part of your job is just to help them explore options and to not be weird about it. And it's like if your doctor was weird about you opening up your gown, you'd be like, get away from me. We got to have that energy, right? Of, okay, well, let's explore together and see what's possible. Is there a credit card? Is there a savings account? Is there something you can sell? Like whatever you need to do, right? So we got to have that energy. But when it is truly a must for your clients, because you've shown up in your power and they want that, and they're like, yes, I want to work with you, regardless of what you're selling, then from there you close, and if you need to help them find the resources to work with you, you do. But it's in that very laid back, non-pushy, non-forceful energy. Wendy's saying, love this, leaning in with the heart, but out with the head comes to mind. Yes, I love that. Beautiful. So that's what I wanted to share. Michelle, this is gold. Oh, thank you. I'm so glad this spoke to you. Good. And again, these are things I've learned from amazing mentors along the way. And it was so refreshing to me when I learned this style of selling. And I was like, not only does it feel better, but if you have not tried to sell this way yet, just try it. You'll make more money. You'll close more clients. It'll be way better for them and for you. Just give it a try. And this is where we have that beautiful blend of the masculine and the feminine energy in our sales process. And we achieve far greater results. So, all right, my loves. Well, I think that's it for today. I am grateful for each of you who joined live. It was beautiful to have you. And if you've got other friends, Chloe saying, I love this. Oh, good. I'm so glad. You've got friends in sales, friends who are entrepreneurs who you think would benefit. Feel free to share this with them, because I think as a culture, as a society, as global citizens today, we are all being invited to elevate the way that we show up with each other. And that includes our business environment. And I think we're all being invited to stop trying to push, convince, force, like that low level, like very matter on matter, like driving, pushing energy, and being invited to step into an up-leveled approach to sales, business, and how we relate to each other as well. So super grateful to have been able to spend time with each of you this morning. Wishing you a beautiful, beautiful day. And tomorrow's good. We're talking about how to take risks. So if you've got something big that you're like, I want to do this, it feels risky, it feels chancy, it feels scary, join, because I'm going to take you behind the scenes of this week's podcast. And I'm going to share with you some of the things that have helped me learn to take bigger risks. So it's typically the bigger the risk, the bigger the reward. Okay. Love you. Wishing you a beautiful morning, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye for now.